Exacto stab uses a ordinary deck of playing cards. You will also be needing an Exacto knife. Along with the Exacto knife, you're going to be needing, just in case, a box of Band-Aids, and one Band-Aid is taken out ahead of time just in case you make a mistake, which never happens, by the way, but it comes in handy later. First, a spectator can select any card. It doesn't matter what card is selected. In this case, it'll be the Jack. The card gets lost back into the pack. After the card is signed, the card can be signed by the spectator if wanted. The card gets lost back into the pack. Now comes the big finale where, you have to try to find the spectator selected card by using the Exacto knife. How do you do it? Well, you balance the cards on the blade of the knife. A very sharp knife, very carefully, I might add. You're going to spread the cards up the handle of the Exacto knife into like a ribbon spread formation. You're going to toss the cards up into the air, and if you get lucky, there you go, you got one card stabbed out of midair. Their card, their signed card, is stabbed 1 out of 52, just like magic. At this point, you put the Exacto knife away and proceed to do a little bit of more magic, because you're going to give this card away as a souvenir. First, you want to put the Band-Aid over the hole in the card, and you give it to the spectator as a memento of this occasion. But you have the spectator rub the card between their hands, like you see here. And when they do, they turn the card over. They can very gently take the Band-Aid off. And when they go looking for the hole that was there a moment ago, their signature is still on the card. There is no hole in the card. It has healed us up just like magic. The other ending for this routine is, instead of using the Band-Aid, you simply take the card and rip it right off of the, it cuts itself right off of the Exacto knife. Again, just like magic, you have a miracle. Here's a quick explanation as to how to gimmick up the Exacto knife. You buy 2 Exacto knives, exactly the same. Take out the blade of each one just by pulling it straight back like that. Like that. The blade, the Exacto knife will only have 1 blade in it. That's why you purchase 2 Exacto knives, and you take one of the blades and you break it off at the 3rd joint in, so that one blade is 3 segments smaller than the other one. But they perfectly line up. They can be reinserted back into the little tab that goes through the hole, and they can both slide back into the track just like that, and then the end piece can be put back on. That's it. You buy 2 Exacto knives, you take both blades and you dull them over top of a file so that the blades are no longer sharp. That's a major importance. You might even want to dull the tip a little bit. And the last thing which you may have to do is, when the blades are out of the Exacto knife, take a small fingernail file and just file the opening up front here a little bit wider, so it's opened up a little bit more. You really don't have to file too much of it off. I mean, for this one here, I basically took another knife and just kind of scraped it on the top and bottom segment of that opening. You just want to make that opening a little bit bigger so that when the blade is ejected out, it's easy to push it in and out. Now, because you have 2 blades perfectly lined up together, you'll see that if you place a card underneath that blade, one of the blades, it'll give the perfect illusion of the razor knife
penetrating that card. On the back it looks like that. On the face it looks like that. When it comes to tearing the card off of the knife, if you're going to do the tearing version 2 and give the card away, you basically, being careful, again, the tip is pointed so you don't want to cut yourself there, but this has been dulled. This will not cut you at all. You basically hold it like this, lift up with your thumb and first finger, because you want that point right there to tear into the card. Being careful not to get your fingers in the way, you pull back on it and let it cut right through, and flip this over as you bring it back into the casing, just like that, and then you hand out the card. For the other presentation, the other version, let's say the card is impaled upon the knife, and in this case it's facing the audience out there. What I'll do is I'll simply place my thumb right over the slit where the slit would be, pull this out, and place it back in right away, getting rid of the evidence of the two blades in one, and then place the band-aid over top and give it to the spectator to hold for the rubbing and the psychic healing portion of that. For the card control, you basically you could do any kind of control that you're comfortable with, as long as the card ends up on the bottom of the deck. In this case, let's say they chose the Queen of Diamonds. What I would do is I would turn it face down, square the pack up, getting a break underneath it, double undercutting. I cut once, place on top, pick up the Queen, undercut again, place on top. I then take 1/3 and fan them out, riffle, place them in the center, just as an added bit of flourishing as I put the deck together. At this point the card's on the bottom. Use any control you want to control the card to the bottom. I'll also go into a false cut, whatever you want to do, so that the card, their selected signed cards, ends up on the bottom. When it's time to balance the deck of cards on top of the knife, you want to make sure that the half blade is facing you. You also want to make sure that you emphasize they signed a card, it's shuffled back into the pack, and as you do this, you sort of get a break, a heel break. I believe they call that the Greek break on the back side, so that as you display everything to the audience, you go to place the knife underneath. As you place it underneath, you press down a little bit, and that card gets inserted, the bottom card gets inserted underneath the knife. You twist the knife sideways like that as you go to balance everything. So you have your break, you've shown the Exacto knife, you say I'm going to balance the deck on top of the knife. At this point you simply push all the way in and balance the deck, exactly what you're doing, just like that. The only thing you may want to keep note of is that before you release the deck, you want to pull back a little bit. Notice how I've pulled back about the border width of that card. What that will do, that will keep any breaks from showing in the front of the deck. So you balance it like that. You go to spread the cards. You spread only about half the top half. You don't want it spread deep down. Just spread the top half backwards towards yourself, just like that. And when it comes time to jettison the cards up into the air, you're basically doing this. You're going straight up, and as soon as you go straight up, you want to take your hand, the cards are up in the air, imagine these are up in the air, you're straight up, this hand turns over and comes down and cuts right down through. The knife turns over and hits the cards immediately as they spread to the table, and cards upon the blade of the knife without cutting myself. It looks like this. I think I've got it. There we go. Next I'm going to spread the cards up my hand, toss them up into the air, and take one stab, hopefully the right stab, at your card. Looks like this. One card stabbed from out of 52. Not just any card, but this is your card, isn't it? And you end up with their selected card stuck onto the knife. Just that easily done. When the cards are jettisoned up into the air, they go up roughly about a foot into the air, maybe a foot and a half, 2 feet. They go up, they come down, you turn over, you come thrust through, and the cards will scatter on the floor, and then you've just impaled their card.